I'm Gregg Standridge. I'm the head of the guitar department at Norman Music Institute here in Norman, Oklahoma. All right, so we're going to work today on Lesson 17, chord progressions. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to play one chord and let it ring out for 2 measures. Let me demonstrate that, and that's written out for you on the next page, on page 10, talking about chord progressions. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's what we have written in the first exercise here. If you do it like that, it gives you time to get to the next chord. The overall idea on all of this is you have to play in time. That doesn't mean that you had to play really fast. It just shows you have to keep your tempo even no matter what. I went really, really slow. I lifted my fingers early to get to the chord on the beat. It's okay to do that right now. You want to play in time. So that exercise will work great. You can work with any of the chord progressions that you see. That's an example of how you can work with chord progression number 1 that's on the same page. And you can do that with chord progression number 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way through. There's 8 progressions here to work on. The next step, once you have that down, is to actually look at the rhythmic notation in chord progression 1. You're going to see, and I'm just going to show you this in the book just in case you're unsure, here, a quarter note pattern in each measure, 4 quarter notes in the measure. So that means you're going to strum the G for 2 measures. That'll be a total of 4 plus 4 strums. That continues with the C chord, back to the G chord, to the D chord, and finally at the end we strum 1 G chord. You just have to do it slow and you have to be in time. So I'm going to demonstrate, this is always funny, how this might sound if you're a beginner. All right? 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Here comes the C chord. Gotta go. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. I got there eventually, and this hand over here maintains its speed. Here's the D chord. I'm going to butcher it up really bad. But while you're strumming, you try to figure that chord out. And here's the final G chord at the end. Hit it no matter what. That'll be on the internet, I know. It's going to be funny. This is what people tend to do. And this is, I mean, I understand this, but you have to make yourself play at time at some point. They start going through that G chord really fast, and then they want to go. And then they're going to switch back to the G chord, but so that's not going to work. You have to play in time. So even if you mess up a little bit, make sure that this hand is the boss. This hand is the boss. It always plays in time no matter what. If you practice like that, this hand will get fast. If you practice with big gaps like I just did a while ago, then this hand learns it can take its time and doesn't have to do what it's supposed to do. So you have to kind of show tough love with this hand, on this hand. All right. So that was chord progression number 1. All right. Let me play it cleanly for you now with the quarter note strum pattern. 1, 2, 3. Join me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Going to C. Got to hit it no matter what. There you go. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and back to the G. Ready? Go. 1 and 2 and 3. Even if your chord is bad, keep your right hand strumming. Think of the D. Here it comes. Go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. 1 G at the end. That's chord progression number 1 with the most basic strum pattern that we have. That strum pattern is called strum pattern 1. In the next lesson, we'll be talking about other ways to incorporate the chord progressions with these different strum patterns we'll be coming at. But for now, just doing that. Okay, we're going to just play down the rest of the chord progressions here. This is chord progression number 2, D, G, D, A, D. 1, 2, ready, play. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Going to G, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and ready. Back to D, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and going to the A chord. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 D chord at the end. 4 and boom, you're done. Good job. You notice that I'm counting now with an and in between. 1 and 2 and. All the down strums are numbers. All the ands are ups. Even though I'm not using an and count in this strum pattern, I still have to move up to play my downs. The idea is that your hand is always in motion. It never locks like that. Okay, let's do strum pattern number 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and D chord. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and A chord, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and E chord, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and ready to the A. And 2 and 3 and 4 and done. Good. Okay. This is strum pattern number 4. Number 4 is one of those places where we start to use the pivot fingers that we had done in the previous lesson. Just to remind you, when we go from the E to the B7, this finger is going to stay down. It's our pivot finger. The first finger literally just moves up one string onto the same fret. The third finger here drops one string, and the pinky goes into the first string. So these fingers here are every other string. 5th string, 3rd string, 1st string. The index finger's back here on the D sharp, on the 1st fret of the D string. When you strum this chord, you only strum 5 strings. This is the it's sort of the Johnny Cash chord to me, because I always learned it from that little lick there. Anyways, you're going to be using a pivot between E to B7 and then right back to E, so you just make that same change back. If you've worked really hard in the previous lesson, then you will have that change kind of under your hands already. So here is strum pattern number 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, going to A, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, back to E, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and B7, here's that pivot, go. 1 and 2, just 5 strings on the B7. 2 and 3, E chord, 6 strings. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and off. Good. This is the chord progression number 5. This has the F chord in it, which is always the tricky little chord with the first finger. Be sure to crowd to the fret. Don't let your finger joint knuckle up like that or fold like that. Keep it down low. See how far my hand is down to the ground? Then these fingers can reach out just fine. If you're doing this, it's really hard to make the F chord. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's just harder. Here's chord progression number 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and ready, going to F. 1 and 2 C. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and ready? Going to G. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and ready? Back to C. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and good. That F is a little tricky. Sometimes, mine will fold in a little bit like that, but, if you can strive for that when you're learning it, it'll really help out. Because if you get like this, it's really hard to get anything going. Mine ends up about like that whenever I play it. Okay. Only 3 more chord progressions here. If you do these every day as a workout, man, you'll get good at your chord progressions. The next 3 use a minor chord in them. In fact, this one is called a 1, 6, 4, 5, and those numbers relate to the chords as they appear in the scale. This sounds like every 50s love song in the world, and a bunch of other songs too. But the big thing with this is, though, we're using a pivot finger between G to E minor. It's that first finger is the pivot. It just kind of rolls back a little bit. It doesn't stay just totally set, because it does have to leave a little room to get that second finger in there. Then when we move to the next chord from E minor to C, the second finger becomes the pivot finger. So here's E minor. The second finger right here is going to stay down. And then it rolls into the C chord like that. All right, here's progression 6 then. Ready, set, play. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Remember your pivot. Your first finger is going to stay down and just kind of reach back a little bit and let your second finger roll underneath that first finger. 4 and 1 and 2. Here's a C. The second finger stays down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and going to D. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Going to the G chord. Here we go. And there you go. When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only sight you see. That's the chorus to Stand By Me, and like I say, 50 billion other songs from that period of time. All right, this is chord progression number 7. This does use a pivot between the C to the A minor, the first 2 chords in the progression. It's a double pivot. In C to A minor, these 2 fingers are going to stay down. So all you do is take that third finger and place it directly under the second finger. Second fret, but it's on the G string, the 3rd string. This chord looks just like E, only it's on the wrong strings. It's the same exact shape. You play 5 strings of the A minor. So here's C, here's A minor. All right, here's chord progression 7. 1, 2, ready, play. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3. Here's the pivot to A minor. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and ready? Going to F. Here we go. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and ready? Going to G. And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and ready? Going to C. That's also a 1, 6, 4, 5 progression. It's the same thing as the previous progression, it's just in a different key. So we'll talk more about that later on as we get to study the harmony behind these scales. Okay, our last progression. It's almost like the progression we just did, but in place of the A minor, we're going to put a D minor, which is the 2 chord in the key of C. Right? Now there is a pivot between D minor to F, between the 2nd chord and the 3rd chord in the progression. So you don't have to lift that finger. D minor to F, just like that. Okay, here we go. 1 and 2 and progression 8. Ready, play. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Go into D minor. Go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Remember, you have a pivot finger, the second finger. Ready, go into F. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Go into G. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and ready, go into C. Go. All right, that's all 8 of the progressions from the book. If they're too fast for you, the thing that you can do is you can go into the settings on YouTube. It's just a little gear icon that's right on the YouTube interface. And you can click on that and you can select the playback speed, and you can play them back at 75% speed. You can also select it to 50% speed, which is going to be really, really slow. And just make sure that this hand is the one staying in time on those quarter note pulses. It doesn't hurt a bit to count 1 and 2, and I encourage it. It's just such an important deal. Playing guitar is kind of like golf. This hand is for show, and this hand is for do. In other words, this hand right here is really what makes music. This one does, but it kind of is a button pusher. While this one is where all your expression, your power, emotion, this is where this all comes from in the right hand. And so it gets overlooked because everybody sees all this going on up here and they go, oh yeah, I got to learn to do that better. So don't get enamored with what this hand is doing. Make this hand the boss. All right, thank you guys for listening. My name is Gregg Standridge. I'm the head of the guitar department at Norman Music Institute in Norman, Oklahoma. We do lessons online. We do lessons on site. We always do a free lesson so you can try it out. So if you know anybody that's interested, would like to try a free lesson, either in-house or online, give us a call at 405-292-8400. 405-292-8400. And I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks so much.